Welcome to another episode of Dad Can We Talk. I'm your host, Anthony Ray. And today, man, I am so excited about this episode right here, man. I'm going to try something different. I got my brother Jeff Thomas here with me, and I'm here with his two sons also. And the reason why I wanted to try out this way of doing things, because I think it's really important, especially for young men, to be open and understand conversations that men have. And I think at times we don't talk enough as men, and I think in return we end up being like that with our children also. I think a lot of men have a hard time having those hard conversations with other men and also with their sons at times. And I just think it's important to all of us be able to get together and be able to talk sometimes. And I'm just excited about this, man. So yeah, my brother Jeff, man, he is a great father, great husband, very knowledgeable and wise man. And the reason why I wanted to bring him on this podcast because I respect his wisdom and his knowledge and everything about him, man. So at a time we had a pretty rocky relationship for a moment, man. we had a rocky relationship, man, but it was all out of misunderstandings. And that's one of the things that I'm talking about. As men, we don't talk at times, and we have these misunderstandings with each other, and we just stop talking and just write each other off without ever really sitting down and understanding one another, man. So, welcome to the show, Jeff Thomas.
Man, appreciate it. A rocky start, huh? No, everything is in the time of the Lord, man. So it's good, man. I am honored. It's a privilege to be on Dad Can We Talk. I mean, I think the last time we did the Hebrew stuff, and so now I can just lay back and talk from the standpoint as a father, as a husband. I myself also am a son, and a grandson. It's just amazing, man. And so, man, I'm privileged to be here, man. And let's just lay it out, Being a father has its challenges, man. And but I just believe, through God, through Yah, that we can be able to move forward. There's no manual with this thing, man.
That's real.
I mean, I've seen my father. Now, one thing you know about me is I come from a military background. My father was a master gunnery sergeant in the Marines. And if you know anything about Marines, they're pretty much crazy. I don't say that in a bad thing. I say that in a good thing. And so my upbringing wasn't about dialogue as it was more about commands. And so, for the flip side of me as a father, I'm having to. I still give commands. I'm pretty sure my boys are gonna say, he give commands. But because of my faith, I've been able to navigate not giving commands all the time, but being able to talk and to share and to articulate my feelings. Most men, as father, we're not emotional creatures. We're not made to be emotional. We're intellectuals. We process things better, we process things better, we analytical. And so, but there's nothing wrong with being able to show emotion, all right? There's nothing wrong with being able to have a conversation with your children, letting your children know that, listen, I'm not perfect, all right? I'm growing just like you. I make mistakes along the way, and knowing that, hey, as a father, since I've made mistakes, I want to make sure that you don't make those mistakes. And sometimes when I'm sharing that, it may come off as a command. So I got to go back and be like, all right, let me sit back down. I apologize for the way it comes off. And that's a hard thing for a man to do, because men in and of ourselves, we're proud. I mean, that's a good thing. You take pride. I take pride in my children. I take pride in my wife. I take pride in what God has provided me with as a family, and with a family comes great responsibility, and especially since we're in this 2021, man, I got to be able to instruct my sons in how to, hey, navigate through all this, navigate through the racism, navigate through the trials and tribulations that's going to come your way, navigate through the educational system, how to deal with yourself when you're dealing with police as you continue to grow to be you progress from a boy to adolescent to a teenager to a young man. I'm having to instill these things in my children, and then to make sure, hey, I don't want my children making the same mistakes. As young men, I'm just be honest. I don't want my boys sitting here having a mentality, I'm gonna smash every chick. Yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get into the drug game, or I'm gonna get into a gang period. No, those things, even though I understand why people do them for affirmation, that's not the type of affirmation you want, because there's always some consequences. So that's just a little bit of just, me sharing or whatever.
That's real. That's real. And so who do we have here? Your two sons. Introduce your two sons.
All right. So the Most High has been able to bless me with my oldest one. My oldest one is Caleb. Caleb, want to introduce yourself?
Introduce yourself, Caleb.
My name Caleb.
And how old are you, Caleb?
14.
14, okay.
And then this is my youngest one. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Jahaziel. And how old am I? I am 7.
All right. So as you see, I got a 14 and a 17-year-old. And, as they got those, I said 14 and 7, right? So they already corrected their dad already. 14-year-old and 7-year-old. I don't have a 17-year-old. Yeah. But as you can see, my sons have biblical names. And if anybody know the meaning, Caleb is a person of wisdom and boldness. And Jahaziel was what were the Levitical priests. And it's, if I'm correct, I think it's Yasis. And so, but yeah, these are my boys. And so they gonna be, they might be raw and be like, man, daddy could be, so I just told him, I told him today, I said, hey, we're gonna be keeping it real. And so I'm not, you can say what needs to be said. I ain't gonna get on you now.
I wanted to ask you about this. You spoke about the names. All of my children have Hebrew names.
Right.
Azriel, Eliana, Uriah. And when I always like to go back and look at their names and look at, because I always, I've been like always told myself, I wanted my children to have Hebrew names.
That's right.
Biblical names. And now when I look back at the meaning of their names, Azriel means Yah is my help.
Right.
Or Yah is the help, the help of Yah.
That's right.
And her middle name is Angel, which is of course a messenger of God. Eliana is Yah has answered me. And then her middle name is Isla, and that was stands for like an oak tree. And when I look at that, like even with her, that oak tree is she's deep rooted and strong, and her personality is
exactly
that. I look at Azriel, she's more of one of my helpers. She's always willing to help me. And then Uriah is Yah is my light.
It's my light.
Or almost like a fireball. And he's a fiery kid. He has this attitude. He's really stern.
Right.
And and I'm like, dang, the names are coming forth. So I wanted to ask you, have you seen that with your children as you look at their names pertaining to their character?
So with names, when you name your child, you're speaking of their character and their destiny. And I will say with the naming of all my children, every one of them has a specific role. I'll get on Caleb. Caleb with his wisdom. Now his wisdom, sometimes you'd be like, boy, you don't know everything. But what happens is his wisdom translates to how he deals with his peers in school. Now, when you see my son, you'd be like, man, is he 16? Is he 17? The way he talks and he's much older. No, he's only 14.
Yeah.
But him being around me, him having a desire to search things out, him even he'll take on my mannerism with wisdom on how to deal with certain matters that may come his way, how to deal with his aunties and uncles and different other people. So he has that wisdom and that character. And here's the other thing about my son too. The Caleb also means bold. My son, because of his faith and walking it out, he'll stand there and tell people like, "Hey, man, this is the truth. I'm sharing it," and he's not fearful nor afraid. And then also, with my son and the giving of that name, his heart is for worship. And so, many people, when we were, of course, in Christianity, my son led praise and worship. Yeah. Now, he's still doing that under what we're doing now, but he has a heart to worship Yah. And so, with the wisdom and with the boldness that he has, man, that name speaks to him, and he demonstrates that characteristic. Now, with my 7-year-old, so I see my oldest one, the seriousness of where I'm at. Yeah. My 7-year-old, Jazel, I see the playfulness, I see all that. But what I also see in Jazel, like I said, his name means Yah sees. Like there's nothing that Jazel don't see and talk about. Sometimes you be like, you tell your kids, "Hey man, listen, stop being nosy." He is inquisitive. He is going to ask about everything. He is going to remind you about everything. Matter of fact, he tries to take on the role of telling the other two, "Hey, you can't be doing this, or you can't be. Oh, I'm going to tell you." In other words, I'm telling on what you did because I see it and I know it's not right. And so, Jazel takes on my youth as when I was playful, and I mean, just as a kid, I was in the comic books, I was in the movies, I was in the superhero, and all these attributes is like something he just taking it. I look back and be like, boy, you just gotta look at yourself like, boy. So Caleb is the older me, but Jazel is the younger me. Okay, yeah. All right, well, so for me, man, having God to allow me to name my kids, I'm naming them, and I'm also positioning them how they need to walk these things, how they need to walk their destiny out. And so, yeah, man.
And the reason I ask that, because I think people need to be mindful
right.
of things that they name their children. Mm-hmm. I think we just look at, it's just a name, but like, nah, you literally every day you're calling that child by their name.
That's right.
You're speaking something into the atmosphere where you look at you can look at Jacob.
That's right.
And what his name originally was before y'all had to change his name.
That's right.
The reason why y'all changed his name because he understood. That. So when you look at Jacob, before he was Israel.
That's right.
You see how he was. That joker was
dirty. Man. You had to fight a joker like him, man.
That joker was dirty, man. So it's just really important, for us to really take the names serious. Like really be strategic in what you do because you don't want to just be speaking something over your child every day. You're gonna be saying their name. You know what? Asriel! we call so we don't want to be just always speaking these things over our children. We just got to be mindful, man. So
absolutely. I
want to ask you also, man, I want you to talk about your relationship with your pops. Like, what was that relationship like?
Oh, man. It was love-hate, man. I have to just be real. It was love-hate. Now, when I say that, I'm saying that from the love. The love is where I'm at now because I finally seen what my father was trying to do. The hate was, as a kid, it's like, man, you think I'm a soldier? Yeah. If you was to bring me and my brother here, my brother, you would be like, the stories that we have growing up, it's like our dad was like, we was in the Marines, and like my mom would have to be like, Jonathan, JD, these are your sons. These are not troops. These not soldiers. And so that's why I said there was this love, hate. And then it was also, you got to understand too, it's, you know how you can be so much like your dad? And it's like two negatives hitting? Yeah. You need a positive negative. No, you got two. And so that's what it was. And growing up, I was very articulate. I would articulate how I felt. Mm-hmm. My dad was kind of the opposite in that, but he gave commands. And so if I felt like, I'd be like, well, I need to say this. Now, that would come off as back talk a lot of times. And so, man, growing up, my father was a provider, but I just think that, because of the Marines, and then also because of the way he grew up, he was not a very good communicator. Yeah. And I think that was the now the amazing part is, of course, as I've grown as a father and everything else, those things change. He got grandkids, so if he come around and he be around his grandchildren, I'd be like, he'll get on me. He'd be like, hey, Jeff, man, just back off. Let him. I was like, I know you ain't telling me to back off. You know how you used to be. But I guess, as time changes as a father. So communication was a thing that we dealt with. I'll give you a good example. Like, when we were young, we were made to go to church. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the crazy part. And it's kind of weird with the righteousness that my dad had. He would make me and my brother Brian go to church, but he would instill in us that was important. Even though I'd be like, well, Mom, how's he gonna have us go to church and he don't go to church? And then you think you talking to your mom, and all of a sudden you get to slip and pow, and you get hit. Oh, where he come from? You doing it because I said so. So he was a man of he's a man that commanded authority. He really was. Now, it's funny. The funniest thing about my dad was this. We know how boys are when it comes to their mamas. Mm-hmm. All right. So, my mom would move heaven and earth for her boys. Mm-hmm. She could see no wrong. But when she did see wrong, it'd be funny. If when we would mess over her and get in trouble with her, all of a sudden my dad would flip it and be cool. Now he'd say, "Now, I'm telling you, Jeffrey, I'm telling you right now, you better stay on her good side because she's the only one in your corner. I'm telling you right now." And that's how he be, like, she's the only one in your corner. He said, I'm in your corner too, but you're going to learn the hard way. You're going to work for anything you want to do. And so it was then where I would see, okay, my dad does have that aspect of a nurture. Okay, he's not always militant, commanding, and everything else. And so I think those were things just coming up. My brother got more of my dad's affirmation than me, but how can I say it? I had a lifestyle where I loved the streets. All right. Now, I'm not saying I sold dope or anything, but I was in the streets, in the gang. I love my music. I love those things. And so, I did my martial arts, but for me, if he didn't come to it, I'm like, I don't need you. And my martial arts was to train me so I can be able to fight on the streets. So I think my father went to like one or two of my competitions and stuff, but my brother who did the baseball, the football and all that, he went to a lot more of those things. But, I think at times I'd be like, I would say, well, I would question that, but then only because of how I am now and how I've grown up, did I recognize, okay, that's just me and my dad were so much alike. Like, it was crazy. We really were. And so, just growing up, man, it's I'm gonna say I'm a privileged kid now. Yeah. I'm worldwide. So I've lived in Japan, I've lived in the Philippines, I've lived in Hawaii, I've lived in California, I lived in Georgia, I lived in Miami, Florida, born in Detroit and raised worldwide. So I would say that for me, my father opened the door for me to be worldwide and have a world view. Yeah. And so now I'm gonna tell you this, my father taught me how to play the game too. All right. My father taught when he would interact with people, certain people, there's certain white brothers and sisters, he teach me how to play the game if I needed to get something done. It's just what it is. So I can flip it and be like, proper, respectful, yes sir, no sir. Now, of course, yes sir, no sir should be the main, but I'm saying he was so good at playing the game and selling himself to get what he wanted. So then that translated to me when I need to, you see me now and I can be aggressive, but at the same time, I can flip it and be like, just as cautious and caring and just, and so he taught me that. By him being an example of me before that, I seen that a lot. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I think one thing growing up that I do regret is that my father was a mechanic. My father builds cars from scratch. All right. When we were younger, me and my brother went to many competitions. Of course, as we got older, we wanted to do our own thing. He did take us to like one or two more competitions, but I do regret not building that relationship with strong, because his passion was cars. My passion wasn't cars. My passion was to put the music in the car. Yeah. So it was like, I remember my first car I got. I spent like $500 on music and speakers and everything else. And then I went and it was an '89 Chevy Cavalier. I went the first night. And I'm driving this thing like it's a stick. My first night, I blew the engine.
No, man.
Yeah, I blew the engine. So I remember calling my dad. I was like, this car ain't moving, it's smoking, it's whatever. So what did you do? I said, well, I was driving and I switched to neutral and then went to reverse and then switched to drive again. He said, it's smoking. Well, then he told me, so where's your money to fix it? I was like, money? I done bought these speakers and everything. He was like, man, like you done spent $500 on some speakers and this and that. You blew the engine, son. And so, where I should have said, you know what, since I blew the engine, let's take time. Like I was like, man, Dad, fix it. I was like, just fix it. Yeah. Now he fixed it, but he fussed all the way. Now the crazy part, he was like, you're gonna pay for the parts. I ain't doing it for free. So now, what is he doing? He's instilling that responsibility. But I just regret that I did not take hold to that as much as I would have desired to. And I would have even built probably more of an intimate relationship with my father if I would have went to the garage and spent time doing that. But, it is what it is, man.
That's real. Man, Caleb, I want to ask you, after hearing that, do you see any of that in your pops? In y'all relationship? How is that relationship between you and your dad? From your perspective?
It's kind of the same, but not really.
Yeah.
Because he don't like. I don't know if he like cars, but when
I ain't stopping you, man.
Say,
hey, can we talk?
Can we talk? It's talk time.
Can you say what you said again? Well, not say it.
No, well, I'm just like, just speak from your perspective. Like, what's your relationship? Like, what's the relationship that you and your dad have? From your perspective, how do you feel about y'all relationship? Feel like it's good? Feel like it's bad?
It's good. He's rough. Like,
yeah.
He hard on me a lot, and I feel like I don't like it now, but like he was saying later on, when I become a father and a husband, I see what he was doing was for my benefit and for my good. But now it's just I need to be obedient and just follow his direction, because like he was saying, he didn't really follow what his dad was telling him, and it led him down some bad paths. So I believe that if I just follow him and just trust that he knows what he's teaching me, that I'll be good.
Yeah, and that's real, and it's all right to say, right now, I don't like that. Right now, I don't be feeling that. My daddy be on my behind, and that. But it's good that you do realize that you can see down the road. Because right now, of course, you ain't got to tell me. I ain't grow up with my daddy. But my mama, boy, I used to be telling my mama, I wish I was born into another family.
Wow.
Cause boy, my mama was on me, boy. I'm talking about all the time, like literally. And I used to just be like, man, boy, I don't know why God let me be in this family. I used to be saying that, but now that I'm older, like you say, I can see why my mom was certain ways, and I do have, partial relationship with my dad. Now, I would say that we're getting there, so I'm playing catch up with my dad. I'm 31 years old now, and last year was my best year I ever had with my dad. As far as communication goes, just getting to know him getting to know me. Me and my pops talk more last year than we have in the past 30 years combined. Wow. Literally. And that ain't just an exaggeration. Literally last year we talked more than the past 30 years combined. So as I'm seeing that, now it's I can look at it and say, man, dang, I wish I did have my pops there to be on my behind. Because at times, I know it's hard, because it's been hard for me to follow different leadership and stuff because of the fact that I didn't grow up with my dad. It was just hard for me to take manly leadership, a man telling me, because I ain't have that, so when a man come, I bow up to a man man, I don't know what this guy talking about, boy, you ain't my daddy. That's how I would look at a lot of guys, because of, it's just how I grew up, man. But yeah, I think it's good that you do realize that, and you're taking that and you're learning. It's a very important thing. 14 years old, you give yourself 4 more years, you're 18. Your pops, he's preparing you for that real world, man. Cause listen, it ain't pretty out here, boy. It ain't pretty out here, man. There's a lot of things that I don't think a lot of young men are prepared for when their feet touch that ground. It's real. So I tell you this, man. Continue to thank the Lord every day, bro. That you do have that guidance and that leadership in your life, because you will be ahead of the game from where a lot of your peers would be. Because we know a lot of young black men right now. I think it's changing. It's changing. I will say that. Yeah. It's definitely changing. When I was your age, I probably knew when I was 14. Yeah, when I was 14, bro, I probably knew out of all of my friends, I can count on one finger how many of them actually had a daddy in their life. Literally, I'm talking about wow. My boy Ronnie, KJ, and Patrick probably. But outside of that, we ain't have no daddies. I think it's changing now, because a lot of dads like me grew up without a dad, so we trying to be there for our children. That's right. So, but there are still a lot of young men that don't have that leadership and that guidance in a father, man. So, yeah, definitely continue to take heed, man. Continue to take heed.
I'll say this, like I've seen where I hurt my dad. The one time I hurt him, and it was the fact that it was when I did a crime in California, of course, and so my father ain't never showed any emotion or cried ever, and so when I had got sentenced, they gave me a 2-year sentence, and my dad was there. It was the first time in my life that I seen him break down. I was like, he's human. He's okay. Right. He did love me. It's just, like I said, him not being a communicator, but it's him being a provider. Because I had got in trouble. He flew back out to California. My mom was in a mess, so she wasn't coming. He flew back out, got me a lawyer, this and that. I could have took a deal for less time, but I was just like, man, in the end, I did the time with a couple of my other brothers. I did the crime, so might as well just do the time. And so it was just when he came, he was like, do you want to get out? Do you want to do this? And I was just like, well, I'm good that, this and that. But when that sentence came, and that judge read me that sentence, that was the first time I looked, And I had tears in my eyes too. I'm like, man, I'm finna do 2 years, man. And the bad thing about it is like when me and my father would talk later on, he did share with me. He's just like, I gave you everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I didn't talk to you all the time. I didn't communicate. But I gave you everything. There was no lack. You saw my example. What makes you go do this? And so now, that was just like, man, I said, well, in the end, it's like that is pull of the world, I guess, in the end. And it was. I ain't going to talk about what we did, but it was the pull of the world. We were influenced by the world, by the music at that time, and it just led me to do something stupid. And so that really, for me, when we had that conversation, but when I seen him at the court and I seen that he had tears, and then that showed me, I actually disappointed this man.
All right.
I actually hurt him. I didn't think this man could be hurt. No words could hurt him. You're a soldier. You're trained to kill, everything else. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, this man is invulnerable. You know what I'm saying? And so that was something that was like, wow, okay, I didn't know. And so that was like, okay.
It's funny you say that though. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people look at men in that way in general, especially a lot of women.
Right.
It's something that, I've had talks with my wife about, and I would tell her, yeah, it might, on the outside, it might look like, daddy, Superman, like, because I might not always say when something is bothering me.
Right.
And I just continue to move forward, I continue to do what I need to do. Mm-hmm. And, like even just for instance, last year, people looked at what I did, full-time student and full-time working and building a podcast from ground up. Got my graphic design stuff I was doing, ministry and being a father of 3 children and being a husband. Mm-hmm. And still being able to keep everything in order and being faithful to my wife. It's like, if you write all that stuff on paper, you'll say, damn, but that's a good man. You write it all on paper, but if you go talk to that man and you understand the things that I'm dealing with daily, like at times I'm burdened. Like I'm really, there's times when I cry to myself, and I'm pleading for the Lord to give me strength because I want to give up.
That's right.
Because at times life is so hard and I want to blow up on people. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, it's people on the job trying me. And I want to put my hands on somebody, and it's just like all that type of stuff. But I'm like, man, I got to continue to stay strong. I still got to go home and, find time, find time. I got to make time for my wife, make time for my children, and it's like, all that stuff is hard.
Right.
Literally, it's not for the weak hearted, but on the outside, it's like people see all this stuff and it's like, oh, boom, boom. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, his feelings ain't gonna get hurt. I can try him like this or say this thing. And it's like people, I think at times we can overlook the problems and the issues of a man. Because it's on the outside, that's just our, most men, that's how we are. We don't want to show that. I ain't gonna say even
vulnerability.
We don't really want to seem like that, but it's like, we do be having things going on. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's funny you say that about your dad. Like, I think a lot of children or even wives, when they look at the daddy in that house, might feel like, he ain't gonna hurt his feelings. We can say whatever or do whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important for, for other, I know a lot of women listen to this podcast. Okay. And for the women that do listen, we do have feelings.
Real talk.
We can break. Mm-hmm. We are vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And if there's any other children that might listen to this, listen to your parents, man. Mm-hmm. We, especially your dad, because we might not say it or show it, but at times we do get hurt. Our kids can't hurt our feelings. I think people think it's just a kid thing. Well, you hurt my feelings. No. Well, I be telling my kids, man, y'all hurt my feelings. For real. Like, I done told y'all to clean this room up 18 times. Boy. Man, that thing hurt my feelings to get up out of my bed on on a weekend after I done worked all week.
And I got to come back home and still clean up. Y'all get that room straight. What's the
Man,
problem?
that hurt my feelings because I'm working, trying
Right.
to provide for you. And that hurt our feelings, bro. But like you say, I think we got to communicate that also.
Yeah.
So I think on us, to communicate it.
I think we're doing. I think we are doing better. Here's the thing: when you're dealing with communication, you think about the atrocities that have happened to us as black men and fathers, and what slavery did. It's not that the black man didn't want to communicate.
Yeah.
He was separated.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? His mind words is, "Hey, stay with your mom. Make sure I gotta go." Boom. If anybody's seen the Birth of a Nation, the Nat Turner movie, I mean, Nat Turner's dad was in his life to like 7, and then he sees his son didn't get no food. He goes out, he brings the food back, and he gives the food to the son and the mom, and then he says, "Son, I gotta go." "Well, where you going, Daddy? Where you going?" They about to take me. If they take me, they gonna take you. Here's the food and go. And so, man, communication, that type of destruction in communication goes through our bloodline. So sometimes as men, we have a fight or flight mentality, and not to say our forefathers wasn't fighting, but if you was fighting to die, then what were you doing? You couldn't leave a legacy or anything like that. And so, I'm just thinking like now, just for me, what I want to make sure with my children is I leave not just, okay, Dad provided.
Yeah.
Man, listen, like I share with Caleb all the time. Listen, I don't want you to make mistakes I've made.
That's right.
Like I said earlier, I don't want you to get into relationships with women. Yeah, I want you married, but I don't want you to get into I don't want you to look at women how I looked at women coming up. And that's the reason, one of the main reasons, like, man, y'all don't give me no daughters, but he ended up giving me 2. And so on the flip end, I'm overprotected with my daughters, and on the other end, I'm not that I'm not protected with my sons, but I'm like, man, I'm cautioning y'all, boys. 1, I ain't trying to be no grandfather. 2, y'all just don't know the type of stuff that's out there. Like, listen, man, don't allow yourself to get involved. Don't allow yourself to have the peer pressure. I mean, you look at Caleb, he's big, he's stocky, he can sing, and he got a nice smile on him. He probably, as we was growing up, my grandma would be like, "Jeffrey look better than you, JD." And so my grandma was alive, she'd probably say, "Oh, Caleb look better than you, Jeff." "All right, Grandma, thank you very much." So I'm seeing all these attributes, and it's just like, the attributes are good. But don't be swayed. Don't be swayed by the word. Don't be swayed to get involved with a lot of these girls and stuff like that. And we can tell from our time to now, it's crazy. Like you used to have some type of talk game. You ain't gotta have no talk game.
They got the talk game now.
Yeah, the girls will come up and talk to you. Like, what in the world is going on?
It's a whole different game.
And so, I just think as a father, man, we want to leave a legacy, but we want to leave them with righteous information. And yes, I mean, now, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure my son probably hate me sometimes, both of them, because of my,
I do.
Yeah, okay. Jason said I do. Because of my sternness and structure. And my sternness and structure is only because of what was modeled before me. Now, yes, my wife would get on me, "Well, you're not your father." Okay, I'm not my father, but that doesn't mean that I don't take that what my father gave me and what he instilled in me. That ain't gonna go away, And so what I try to instill with my sons, like I said, maintaining or cleaning your room, that's just a good work ethic.
Yeah.
All right. Like I get on Caleb all the time. Man, you just got a new phone. You got a new phone. I had to buy my first phone when I was 22 years old. You know what I'm saying? So you got it. So I'm like, listen. And I said, it's not that I don't want, I said, now I want you to be cautious on everything else. But I'm like, man, so if you got a new phone and I'm asking you to do this or do that, that's like, man, that's responsibilities. You got something. You don't just get nothing in free in life. And so I think that's something that we continue to communicate to our sons, definitely. Like, first of all, The world will give your daughter stuff.
Yeah.
But the world is not giving the black boy, the black man stuff. Like I've told my son, you got 3 strikes. You black, you a male, all right, and your image. You know, he's coming up. I didn't have dreads coming up. Sure. Matter of fact, when one of my homeboys growing up, he put some he carved some dice into my head. You know I used to have the haircut. He carved some dice in my head. What did my dad do? Came home, cut that out. I was like, what you coming? And now still the stuff was there, but he was like, you cut my hair. And so like I didn't, I was like, man, it's hair, Dad. But because of his military upbringing, that was wrong. Well, I'm coming like, man, listen, hair don't make a difference. It don't make a difference if I can still articulate who I am. I got wisdom. I got this. No, man. So for me, like me growing my hair. When I started doing it, I was like, a part of me was like, no, you can't do it, Caleb. No, you can't do it, Jason. But then I was like, no. If they desire to mimic me as a father in that, man, go ahead, do it. But at the same time, now be able to navigate yourself, be able to navigate these paths, man, because there's many challenges. People are gonna look. People are threatened when they look at my son.
All right.
I mean, that's real talk. I mean, Caleb, you want to talk about what happened at Canapa? How? He don't want to talk about. Okay, all right. He don't want to talk about. But because my son wears fringes or whatever, he stand up for his faith. All right. And teachers, like I told my son when he first went into Canapa, I said Canapa Hall is not like Karen and Sharon, where it was a lot of our black elders that was teaching I said you got a lot of white teachers, white female teachers. They're first out of college, so you're intimidating to them. Your presence alone. And here's the crazy thing: when we as black men begin to articulate, that's very intimidating to people. Yeah. Because one, what they're used to is us blowing up, shooting, and fighting. You hate you hate us. You hate when fathers train their sons up to articulate their feelings and to articulate when stuff is wrong. And so my son would get into confrontations.
And the only other thing that they used to us doing is no sir, yes sir.
Yeah, no sir, yes sir. Bowing down. So you hate that I've taught my son how to stand in the paint and how to communicate to himself. So I would get where now what I tell my son, I'm like, listen, tell me straight up you did something wrong, so it's not a surprise to me. Yeah. So when I handle the teacher, I'm handling the teacher from her wrong. When she tells me, okay, I dealt with that. What's your problem? All right. You know what I'm saying? So Caleb would get into disputes on history. Mm-hmm. He did a whole presentation, a video and all. Now they didn't show the presentation, but they didn't show his video presentation, but they had a problem with what he was communicating. Yeah. Now they tried to, what happens is he communicates that, but on the other end, okay, he might get in trouble for talking. Yeah. But no. You didn't have a problem with him talking. You had a problem with how he was communicating to you as a young man of authority. Yeah. All right, and he should have known his place. I want my son to have discernment and wisdom, but I never want him to be fearful and afraid of who he is and who he will become as a man. You stand strong in who you are. You stand strong as a young black male. I don't care how many strikes against you. I don't care what is the narrative that they want to put out on you. You stand strong in who you are and who Yah's called you to be. And so, we had many instances. We had throughout his 7th and 8th grade at Canapa, there not many, but we had different instances. And then you know how our people are. Our black administrations that are under these European constructs, they will sometimes try to come down hard. Like, no, don't come down hard on him. You know how hard it is.
Straight up.
You know what I'm saying? So what you do, don't come down hard, but teach him how to navigate it. Listen, and like I told my son, I said, listen, I'm not like you get into a confrontation with teachers. I'm not saying you were wrong in the confrontation or what you were explaining in the confrontation. I'm saying the timing of that wasn't right. Yeah. You gotta, I said, within this world we're living in, and as a man, we gotta pick and choose our battles wisely and when to engage. And that's what I'm trying to instill in my kids. when to engage, when not. I've told my son, I may not like my job. I may not like my bosses on my job. But I'm going to go to that job and I'm going to do what is required of me. And then when the time comes to where I can communicate my frustrations and this and that, I'll do that. I never want to go on my job and my responsibility says do this. I'm going to do opposite.
Yeah.
No. Now, think about this. A lot of our young men didn't have that father to instill that. I had that. All right. So what my father instilled in me, now I'm instilling that into my boys. Okay, the way I walk, you walk this way. You progress even better. Okay, Dad didn't. My son told you my communication skills. A lot of times I may yell or command. I'm working. Thank God for my wife. I'm working on. You don't always have to yell. You don't always have to be this. Okay, all right. I'm gonna talk to you.
That's me.
Now, as a man, now, if I communicate to you and say, all right, I need this done. If I don't see it done after the second time, you're probably gonna get. And what I'm instilling in him, like, man, make sure when you're asked to do something, do it right. Do it right the first time or whatever. Make the effort. Make the acknowledgement. But that was, those are some of the things that just Caleb, my oldest, would have to deal with. Because, like I said, he is bold. Don't let him read something and get some knowledge. Or I say, check this out, read this, study on this. He takes it and says, oh, I'm going to apply this. And as a young man, you kind of want to showboat sometimes.
Yeah.
Showboat, teaching them all what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. That may be true, but that's just not the time for it. And I think sometimes with a lot of our young men, the job I work is as a mentorship with young men. And so I've got guys that went on to college and everything else. We mentorship under my job that I work. But then what they do is they take it into the high schools and they start chopping at the teachers. And so then they be like, I got in trouble, Mr. Thomas. I'm coming to the school. What'd you say? I'm like, okay, whoa. You say that to the teacher? I said, okay. I ain't saying what you said was wrong, but you got to know when to apply it, when not. You're still at school to get an education, do what they require, but when the opportunity comes, Yeah. And so those are just things that you just, you're laying a foundation, but as you're laying the foundation, your kids are walking upon it, but there's sometimes where you have to stop and be like, okay, man, this is getting crooked. I got to fix this. And I know, we all say it as fathers, we never want our children to go through the things that we went through. I don't need my boys to go to prison. All right. I don't need my boys to be on the street, gang banging, having guns. And listen, when I say that, I understand the circumstances that put my young men in that place. Yeah. So I feel them. I feel their rage and upset. And here's the thing: if you don't have a father that you don't have a father in their life to sit there and allow these guys to communicate, like what happens with with my job and whatever, I'll allow my guys to communicate that frustration. That's like a diffusing mechanism for them. So when they let that stuff go, it's like, okay, now that you let it go, now that you got it out your system, I've gave ear, I've heard. Now this is my advice to you as a man. This is what you just need to do. This is how, and I'll say, this is how we, I'm gonna say, this is how you need to handle it. No, I said, this is how we gonna handle it. And I'm gonna help you along the way.
So, and I think that's important to be able to help lead, because like you say, I understand the young men,
Yeah.
Cause I'm just learning,
right.
I'm like, now that I'm 31, I think this year, last year, I finally got to a point where the second half of the year, first half of the year, it was like, I was still chopping, but like that second part of the year, I finally just started telling myself, even when I go to work, man, I ain't finna say nothing to them. They might be saying the most craziest stuff,
right,
stuff that just be against policy and all that stuff, and I'm just like, in the times past, I'm going in on my supervisor. I'm just like, man, listen. The boy be like, man, hey, man, bro, we need you to say something. I ain't saying nothing, bro. I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna do my job, and I'm gonna go home, bro.
Right.
It ain't worth it.
Yeah.
But when the time presents itself now, like a time presented itself last week, okay, I waited for the moment. I go in that office. Hey, bro, I need to speak to you, bro. Because I could have did it over the radio.
True.
Where everybody could hear it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to just go to the office. Hey, bro, like, let's talk. And we going to talk about it like grown men.
That's right.
You know, and we handle it how we handle it. Boom, we squash it. You know, but
Right.
instead of just in the moment, I could just get on the little walkie-talkie that we got in the warehouse. Man, boom, 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 and go off. Everybody hearing it, other people jumping in it, and it just starts something that really ain't happening. And it all results from me. So it's like just learning how to, like you say, it ain't the fact. Anything I say ain't gonna be wrong, no.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you how just what it is. But sometimes it just ain't that right time. I might need to just go to the office where it's just me and that person. Hey, bro, you know, man, why we doing this? Why you said that?
Right.
Why we can't do that? Boom, boom, and it there's a different it results in there's a difference in the results of it. Correct. Because I've seen times when I went off on somebody on the radio, and then you know they're mad too because they feel like they're being embarrassed.
Yeah.
But if you go to that person one-on-one and you talk about it,
Right.
their reaction is totally different. Because it's like, okay, but we ain't doing this in front of people. It ain't the whole, or I might be feeling embarrassed or feeling like somebody trying to call me out. It's like, it's face to face.
So, bro, here's an interesting point on that too. Because men are prideful, we don't like being fronted now.
Oh, well, we ain't.
I don't care what man it is. Ain't no man like to be fronted. Now, I can have the Spirit on me, the Holy Spirit, but you front me, I'll be able to control myself, but in the back of my mind, I'll be like, nigga, you done tried me. For real. And so, like, teaching our young men, teaching our boys, like, okay, I recognize, you got to be able to recognize when people try you, but just be able to say, okay, that's just not the time to handle that. And then just be able to have wisdom, because here's the thing. You got more accomplished with your one-on-one conversations than just blasting a joke. And that's something that we got to teach our young men, you know, having temperance on, okay, don't just blast it. Okay, go to them. Like, my job, I tell my guys, go to the teacher first. Don't embarrass them, because you know they're going to lash out with us. A female teacher, go to them first. And so, you know, like I'll tell Caleb, like, okay, did you go to them? Did you wait till, well, they ain't talk. I said, okay, wait till class is done. Don't. I said, the moment you sit here and outdo them, or you say you know more, and the moment you sit there, especially if it's a male teacher. Now, you know, it's not many male teachers in the schools, but the moment you do that to, especially a female teacher, he's big and he's black and he's aggressive, and what did he cuss you out? Well, no, he didn't cuss me out, but he talked out of turn and his voice was loud. Of course he got a deep voice. He's a man. What, you want to talk like Michael? Michael Jackson? So, you know, it's just, it's crazy. But I think that what we got to instill in our young men is knowing how to engage in dialogue. And, you know, it's funny, as men, we do stuff just by the Spirit. We talk about sports, we'll have a time, we'll clown. We can be disagreeing. Oh, that team. You know what I'm saying? So that's healthy. That's good. But take that also when there's real issues going on, to be able to have that dialogue. Because in the end, a lot of our gang violence and our brothers fighting and shooting, man, it's because of disagreements. It's because y'all not hearing one another. Y'all need to come together. You need to be able to hear one another. And it's being restored now with communication. But our forefathers that went into slavery and had all these. They weren't able to get that to us. Because why? Their homes was broken. They were forced to flee, or they were killed. And so then what happens when you see that a man doesn't always, how can I put it? When a man is always chattering, that's a lot of times, that's a female trait. And why? Because what's happened is, he's taking on that aspect from the mom. Now, here's the thing. The weight of the mom's supposed to be that way. She's the nurturer. She's more of an effective communicator than the man. But what happens is, she has to do that. And then what she also does is ends up taking on the role of the man. So the chattery and the authority thing get mixed. And so the child, and especially if a mother's raising a young man, doesn't goes through many trials and error until he grows up out of that. You know what I'm saying? And so those are just things that we have to instill in our sons. Like, you know, I just keep harping this: the communication, knowing how to dialogue, knowing what is you're up against, and how to navigate with the obstacles that is presented before you.
That's real. I want to go back to Jahaziel, my man. What's your favorite thing about your dad?
My favorite thing.
What?
My favorite thing is it's pretty funny, but the favorite thing is
Talking to the mic. Say it in the mic.
it's pretty funny, but my favorite thing about my dad is knowing that the car engine. It's funny.
He's funny?
Yes.
So you love your daddy because he a funny man. He make you laugh a lot.
Not really.
He don't make you laugh a lot? Oh, man, you said your daddy was funny.
A little bit.
Caleb, man, I want for you to give your dad 3 things that he can work on as a dad. Help him out, because we all got things we can work on, and I think it's good to hear it from the mouth of someone who's always around.
3 things that I believe my dad could work on is his aggressiveness.
He could tone that down a little bit.
Yes.
Just a tad bit.
It's like sometimes I feel like I'm in the military. It's like cause I went to a few years back. We went to Paris Island, and I was the youngest one there, and I saw how the DIs, the drill instructors, are hard on their cadets, and it's sometimes I feel like I'm one of them cadets. But that's one thing.
So he could tone his aggressiveness down a little bit.
And he emotion, like sometimes he don't show no emotion. He just you can tell when he happy, and sometimes, and just like the way, I don't know how to explain.
So sometimes you think he could just be a little more nurturing toward you, you know, like
yeah, show his emotion.
Show, you know, I love you, son. You know, like hugging you, and you know, just I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah. And last, more hangouts.
More time, more quality time. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. And I think it's important for you as a son to be able to communicate that to your dad, because even though your dad, how old are you, Jeff?
44, man.
44. He's 44, but he still don't know everything.
That's true.
You know, he's still a work in progress. You know, he's still learning. You know, and at times it's hard for a dad to. We're so worried about everything else. You know, we juggling so many things, and I think at times, yeah, I I know the struggle. It's hard to continue to. It's like, shoot, boy, I ain't thinking about all that stuff. I'm like, shoot, boy, we got to pay these bills. You know, like and it's like you ain't really on a day-to-day, you know, through the hustle and bustle, you know, you running over here, you doing this. By the time you get home, it's like, shoot, we trying to worry about what we got to eat tonight.
Right.
You know, it's like all of those things, and I don't think, at times, that stuff ain't in the forefront of a dad's mind at times, you know, because life just moves so fast, I think. So, yeah, that's good stuff to be able to hear from your son, you know, to be able to say, okay, boom, now these are the things that, boom, now, I think when you communicating that, now your dad hears that, and now it will be at the forefront of his mind, like, okay, boom, you know, I'm gonna do this right here today, you know, I'm gonna work on boom, boom, and I think, you know, it'll get better. I think, you know, just every day, you know, just focusing on that stuff, man. That's some good stuff though. Stuff that I can work on with my own children.
Hey, real talk. Hey, self-evaluation. I can grow on that. Gotta work on my aggression.
Yeah. And see, one thing I try to do, and I think for me, because my son is my middle child, and I was a middle child. I was my dad's middle child and my mom's middle child. My dad got like 8 kids. My mom has 3. I know how I felt to be a middle child. You know, I always felt left out. You know, I always felt looked over. You know, I ain't feel loved growing up, honestly. You know, just, and I you know, that was just me as a child. I understand now, you know, especially with my mom. But at times I didn't feel love, you know, because my mom ain't have time to just be all love, you know, but it's like I felt like she was like that with my oldest brother and her baby, my little brother. So it was like they got all this love, and it was just like me, boom. So when my son, it's like I try to make sure, you know, me having 2 daughters, and my son is in that middle. I make sure I'm loving on that joker, you know, always hugging on him. And be like, man, come give me a hug, bro. He be like, man, hug, man, give me a hug, bro. I'm gonna get mine, bro. Like, you know, to just make sure that he understand. You know, I get on his behind now, and at times I have to. And for me, I think I'm more conscious about it because of me knowing his position, and I don't be wanting to beat him down too hard. And I think I think as he gets older, me just paying attention to him, I think he's gonna be more like my wife. He's gonna be more like an introvert. I don't wanna put him into a shell by me beating. So I try to make sure I had him a little talk to him and let him know, bro, I love you, bro. Like, this why I'm telling you this. You know, because I don't want you to go to jail when you get older. I talked with him about that stuff already. That joker 5 years old. Like, boy, you get older, you doing the stuff what you doing in here, the folks gonna take you to jail. You be out to jail? Yeah, to jail. You know, but try to make sure I'm always loving on a man and just being nourishing, because I know it's different for me because I ain't get that growing up. So I try to nourish the heck out of my kids, you know, like always just making sure, letting them know, kiss them before they go to sleep at night. You know, I like to lay in their bed with them at night before they sleep and just let them talk. All of that stuff, and because I just want them to always know, like, I love you. Daddy be on y'all be high. I was on their behind before I left the house just now. But I'm gonna make sure, you know, I go home, you know, I was just on y'all behind all morning. I go back home, I'm gonna give you a little love now. That room better be clean when I get back to that. You know, but I'm gonna give them a little love, you know, just to try to keep that balance, because like I said, it's hard, bro. Like it's literally a hard thing to, you know, when you want so much for your children.
It's crazy and weird when with your children when they're all born at different times. So like with Caleb, a lot of times, and my aggression does come out, because what I try to do with him is, if I set the tone with him, Everybody else knows too. But now the crazy part is, now Caleb used to get whoopings. But this joke is Hazel. Like his mind frame is get whooped, then come back and chill. Caleb was never like that. He didn't, so as of course, he got older, whatever, but it's like with Hazel, man, I keep having to whoop you. Or I'm having to learn that this, and it's different with each kid. You gotta each kid. I hate to say it. It's not I hate to say it, but each kid relationship is going to be different because of their temperament, the makeup, and everything else. What I try to set a standard is, if I do it with Caleb, say I'm hard on him, then everybody else will be like, if Caleb got in trouble, that means we all will get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? But I, as a father, I have not always maintained that. I mean, I know, Caleb was young, man, talk. But then I know he'll see his sister, Zion, run her mouth, and he'll be like, in his mind, you gonna let her get away? And I ain't catching it, or when I do catch it, I'm really, who you talking to? Get your butt over here. I snatch you. Don't you ever, you know what I'm saying? And it's just, like I said, Caleb is the older me. He's got my older mind. Even though he's young, he's got my older mind. Why, so it's just, I just think that's just something, because of, and like I said, those are not excuses, because I do have to work on my aggressiveness. Even when I'm trying not to be aggressive, because black men, we talk with our hands. Our voice get loud. It's just what it is. Now I can flip it if I'm around the other nationalities and be like, yes, okay, and control it. But you with your kids, you just as a black father, you just animate it. I know, I need to do better. I know for a fact I can work on that, spending, doing the more quality time.
What I've been focusing on, ever since we did the thing a couple weeks ago when we came over there for the feast.
Okay, that's what's up.
And we were looking at, me and my wife had already been looking at the love languages. Right. We had already been talking about that, so it was just on time that night. I'm like, dang, this is right on time. We were just on this. Right. But now what I'm starting to do is I'm trying to find my children's love language, because I'm like, wow, they the same as us. They got love languages too. And I was like, I ain't never think about that. So now I'm trying to understand, what are their love languages and cater to that, because, I found my wife's love languages, and now I'm every day trying to work on loving her the way that she receives it, So I'm like, I need to do the same thing with my children, so just really, I've been studying them the last few weeks, man. And I think I'm starting to see different, certain things about them. And I'm like, dang, let me work to more. And like you say, all the children are different. Right. Well, my son ain't nothing like my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter ain't nothing like my youngest daughter. They're all different beings. And so in order for me to love all of them, I can't, like you say, I can't be like
one shoe fit all type.
Yeah, I can't be, I'm finna be on Azrael behind, and then Uriah gonna get it. No, Uriah might be looking at that like, well, I don't care about that, daddy. Right. Like that doesn't move me. But it might be something that I do with him that just don't move Azrael. It might not move Eliana. So it's like just trying to, fatherhood ain't just you just do this and then you'll be good. Right. Nah, man, we dealing with all types of, we're dealing with different human beings, I got 4 human beings I got to deal with in my home that are all different. That's right. So I got to learn and cater to 4 different people in my home, and it's ain't nobody the same, bro. And it's, and for a while I looked at it like that, like, man, I could just treat all of them the same, like, nah, you can't.
Then the thing too, just as fathers, the role of the husband, the fact of the matter is, when you get married, you take on the life. You're learning how to combine the lifestyle of your wife with the lifestyle of you. So my wife, she's raised by her mom, and then she was raised by her aunties. All right, and then also a portion of her life, her grandfather. So what happens is there becomes a conflict. My military structure versus hers. And then we producing children out of this. So knowing how to navigate and balance all that is just like, you never stop growing. It just is what it is. It's something that's going to be constantly growing. And I know, I mean, my son probably can testify. My discipline was probably way stronger than what it is now.
Yeah.
It's just the reality of it. Because as you get the other kids, you learn, as we talked about earlier, the same shoe, I can't put the same shoe on the same kid. No. I can't, my disciplinary attitudes, now like I said, Jahaziel get a lot of whoopings. He really do. All right. He get more than Caleb. But the ones that Caleb got was probably way more severe. And I've learned I don't need to have that severeness. But then he probably do more stuff than Caleb ever did.
Yeah.
You know, now Caleb mouth. This joke, it ain't his mouth. It's his act. I didn't have to tell Caleb 3 or 4 times, don't do that. After two times, Caleb knew, don't do it. Right. Jason like, don't do that. Don't do that. Didn't I just tell you? Come here. You know what I'm saying? And now, back in the day when it was told Caleb, don't do it twice, bam, you getting the belt. This joker, Jahaziel, he get a belt, but half the time I try to, as a young man, I try to cave his chest in. Bow. Didn't I tell you? And really, I need to go back to that belt because what's happening indirectly, I'm making him tough.
Yeah.
And that's good, but I'm like, no, I better bring that rod back to bring some correction to you. And so it's just weird, you know, certain kids you whoop, certain of your kids you whoop, and then certain of them, you know, I remember one time, I had whooped my daughter. I had felt so bad. I whooped Zion good. I felt so bad. I said, about a minute later, I said, bring your hip in here. I had tears in my eye. Don't you do that. Now what I did is, after that, I pierced her. I said, you disappointed me. When I said that, her eyes watered up, so I said, okay, I don't have to whoop you.
Yeah.
Like I would do the boys. I talk to you and pierce you, you know, and so I was able to pierce her, and then when I'd be like, you disappointed me. I'm just upset. I can't believe you would do that. And so now her mind is, oh, yeah, okay. I know how to get to your butt now. And so it's just, and you're constantly growing. I mean, I have a teenager, but I got a toddler at the house, man.
So yours is so much more spread. You like 7.
So I got 14, 10. Zion's 10.
14, 10.
Jahaziel 7, and Zariah is 18 months.
So you
and
got like
she's 1.
4 years, 3 years, 7 years. So yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yours a little more spread.
Boy, spread. Yeah. And so this is like you know, as Caleb will get to progressing in the teen years, I mean, it goes. I gotta deal with the pressures of that, while still after the matter, I gotta get you out of diapers.
Yeah.
And you finna start preschool. You know, or start first grade. So it's just
I can't go back.
It's funny. Some of the brothers be making fun of me. Be like, boy, when your daughter come out of school, when that youngest one come out, or when Hazel and Zariah come out, they be like, is that your granddad? No, I'm the pops. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe sending my oldest Caleb to go get Zariah from school. So is he your dad? No, that's my brother. You know, because it's 14-year gap. You know, yeah. So you know when Caleb is 28, Zariah be 14. Ooh, so I'd be like, well, what the heck, you know? Yeah. And it's crazy because kids is having babies at this age, bro.
All right, for real.
Shoot. That's what I be telling my other guys, my students, like, man, you finna find out at 15, 16, 17, you decide to have a kid. Okay, I got dreams too. Them dreams on halt.
All right.
They on halt
I
right
had
now.
3 guys on the podcast who were teenage dads. One of my homeboys, me and him same age. We graduated 07. So we're 31 right now. Man, that joker got 2 kids in high school right now.
Wow.
31 years old.
Wow.
One of them 10th grade, the other one 9th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had his first child. We were still in high school, like 12th grade. My boy Vince. Vince had his first in 11th grade.
Right.
But I love his story. I can't wait to get my boy on. Shout out to you, Vince. But my brother, shoot, he did his thing. You know, I think they had their child, 11th grade. He still ended up going to UF, played football over there.
Mm-hmm.
And shoot, he the coach of Wildwood High School.
That's what's up.
Coach. And like I said, that joker's son, he coaching his son. Right now, he coaching his son. I'm like, golly, boy, but that joker still with his high school sweetheart, all that, man. And
wow, that's good.
I love that joker, but it's like, he's not the rule.
Mm-hmm.
He's the exception.
He's the exception, yeah.
Cause I know some other jokers that had babies in school. It ain't no joke.
It ain't
I know what a guy right now. Well, a girl I know, she my age. Well, her daughter probably about 16, 17.
Really? Well, yeah.
And it's like, shoot, I mean, it's real, man.
Diapers.
It definitely happens.
And you know, I'm not for government forced child support. Mm-hmm. You know, I think if you're going to put those type of stipulations, then that man. Here's the thing, and this is why I hate this American system. First of all, this system of oppression, crime, and a lot of the things that our young men go through. If you allow the man back in his place, allow the father back in the place of the child, all right. Say even if the son is not living in the house, but the fact is the father has access to that son, regardless if he missed some child support.
All right.
What you're getting is the structure of that, but that's also what has been a divisiveness with us in this nation. The fact of the matter is systems have been put in place to do what? Cause the man and the woman, or they're not married. So let's just say the man and the woman who have a children, because they didn't get married, or because they didn't even do it right. Say you didn't even do it right. But even if you didn't do it right by marriage per se, what happens is that woman, the system gives the woman the money that does what? Keeps the man away. So you rather take this finance instead of allowing that man to come back into the house. And what happens is you end up diluting the man from being the provider and then the structurer. I know black women have had to do it for a period of time. Stop, Daisy. They've had to balance that. But that's not Yah's design. When you operate out of his design, this is why you have all this turmoil. So I would say, because many women will listen to this. To the mothers out there, you may not be married to the baby's father. Listen, that structure and that creativity and that purpose, I know that you as a mother feel like you can give it, but really that comes from the Father. Whom we call Jesus says, I do nothing but what I see my Father do. Most sons emulate their father. Now I understand when a woman has to protect her son or her children, especially her sons. So I'm say, okay, father was a drug dealer. Yeah. I don't want that influence. I do understand that, but I do think that you still have to have conversations, and you still have to be able to let that man, the father of that child, the father of that son, establish some form of communication. All right. Because I that's been a detriment to us, man. You know, and what happens is this: a lot of men may want to be in the child's life, but they get so much hell from the baby mama, they be like, just forget it. No, I wanted to be there. Your mom upped and moved. Oh, I wanted to be there, but she said I couldn't see unless I paid this. I wanted to be there, but I'm doing drugs. Well, son, let me tell you why I'm doing drugs. I'm doing drugs just to be able to provide diapers. I'm doing these things as a result, and I ain't saying it's right, but it's like I'm in the game. Mm-hmm. I'm just doing what I can to survive.
Straight up.
You know what I'm saying? So these are the talks that, you know, the mother needs to be able to say, listen, for the structure and the purpose of especially of my male seed, I'm not gonna take that from you. I'm not gonna take that from you as a father. Okay, you ain't the best. I'm not gonna take. And then the mother has to take responsibility. You laid with him, so you know what's up. So, and then this is another thing. Don't get on the male child by saying you like your daddy. Well, he needs to be like his daddy, but be able to correct him in what. When I say you like your father, I'm saying you don't want. I want you to be like your father, but I don't want you to take the bad attributes of your father. And then you allow that child to have the dialogue. Now, listen, if the father decides just to be just totally not complicit and just want to be out of the box, then that's fine. It is what it is. But then at the same time, you as mothers with these things, you need to find programs and find people that will mentor, you know. And here's another thing. A male child, a son, when he sees his mom in and out of relationship, you tattooing something on his mind and on his psyche. That what? That's normal. So be, and I understand, you know, you want a need to be met. You know, if I be real, you got an itch that needs to be scratched. Or you may be looking for that man as a way of provision and you want to marry. I mean, that's just, you know, but what I'm saying is it's like never dilute, or what's the word I'm looking for? Never talk ill of the child's father to that child. Yeah. All right? Be mindful of saying, okay, me and him don't agree. We're never going, but I'm not going to keep you from your son. I'm not going to keep you from your father. Because I understand the male seed, you as a father, the role that you play, especially concerning the sons, man. Straight up. I mean, that is just you know, real talk. And like the when they say the norm, black fathers have not. No, black fathers have been in their children's life. What's happening is there's devices and counsel and everything else that's been against them that keeps them from not being in their children's life. It ain't just because we just deadbeat. If the statistics was be told, more black fathers are in their children's life than any other nationality of people on the earth. Straight up.
And that's fact.
That's fact. Now you can say, well, Papa was a Rolling Stone, he got 20 kids. But I guarantee you, Papa being a Rolling Stone, he got, if the woman's right as her, he got access to all those kids. He somehow or another, he's doing what he can. He gonna fight what he can. He gonna do. And so that's why it's like we gotta be careful of allowing counsel or allowing the nations to give us an obscure view of what black fathers are. That's just not, like I tell people, like, you know, I tell people now, I see, well, black fathers in their life. Well, you looking at one.
All right.
And matter of fact, I got about 20 other brothers you're gonna look at. All right? All right? They all taking care of their kids. They all doing this. All right? And then I say, I got some brothers I know that they ain't even married and got their kids with them because the baby mama didn't want them. All right. Which I'm fine with that.
We don't talk enough about that.
That's what I'm saying. We don't talk enough about that. Them brothers need kudos.
Yeah.
When you able to raise a child without the mother there, then yeah, you as a man have to take on that nurturing responsibility. Yeah. That's a great weight when you by nature are disciplinary and you bring structure. So when you have to take on that aspect as a male, as a man, as a father to bring that nurture, that's a whole lot, bro. Yeah. That's a whole lot. But yeah, man, I mean, you know, just real talk, man, that, you know, we got work to do out there, but It's a glorious work that we doing.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, to the men that are out there, to the fathers that are out there, man, keep doing what you have to do, man.
Right.
Keep hustling. Keep getting in there. Stay strong, bro. Be strong in Yahuwah and in the power of his might. You can do it. I'm real talk. You can do it. No matter how many obstacles, no matter, it was a meme one time where it had a woman and then it had the man. The man had a bullet hole, he had arrows, he had a rope on his neck, he had all these things. I'm like, man, black fathers, black men, that's what you up against. But just know that Yah's with you and you can stand. All right? And lay that righteous foundation, especially for your sons. Lay it for them. So they ain't got to repeat the same thing, man. I know I'm preaching now.
That's some real talk. And see, what's funny, you done answered a whole bunch of my questions just all in one.
Oh, okay.
It's just like, I'm gonna let him ride out. Because you hitting on it all,
Right.
Cause one of my questions was gonna be that you just said it perfectly was, if you could say anything to fathers out there listening, what would you say to them? So for any of y'all out there listening, that's gonna hear this. Hear what that man just said.
Right.
Take heed because you being in the life of your child,
right?
As much as they say all these negative things about us,
come on.
As much as the media's narrative of black fatherhood is always what we ain't doing,
right,
and what we can't do, and it's like, nah, like you say, that's why I started this podcast, bro, literally, so that now when people talk that, go to dadcanwetalk.com. Go check out the episode. Every episode is a different man.
That's right.
And we all different. I talk to all
yeah.
types of dads, who do all types of different things, and some married, some aren't.
That's right.
Some of them single dads. Some of them, married with 5 children. One of them got 6 of them. One of them got 1. It's like all of these different stories of these men that ain't perfect dads, because this podcast ain't about no perfect daddy and all that. No, these are just dads that are out here trying.
Right.
Every day we're trying to get better.
Yeah.
We're trying to get better as men, as husbands, as fathers. That's what we're doing.
That's right.
But that'll never be highlighted.
Come on.
It's rarely ever highlighted where you see on a news story or an article about this type of stuff. You might see it here and there.
Right.
It's just not the highlight. That's not the narrative. That's not something that's put out there for public consumption enough. So that's why I say, man, Dad, can we talk? Oh, we gonna do it. If I ain't got that many followers, that many viewers, that many listeners, somebody gonna hear it.
Oh yeah.
So all together, I got about 1,800 views.
That's what's up.
So, hey, that's 1,800 times somebody done heard something different about fatherhood.
That's
Straight
right.
up. So it's like, all right, you might not believe it, you might not agree with it, whatever.
We killing
man.
it. Shows like this, man, doing stuff like this, man, and I know y'all put on your heart. This right here killed the narrative, man. This killed that. Black men don't know how to talk, man. We can talk, man. We can conversate, man. You be surprised what's on our mind and what's in our heart. You'd be surprised that more. We do have a heart to want to do right and want to right the wrongs of stuff that's been done. We do. Like majority of the men, man, I can say as black fathers, they want to be in their kids' life. Okay, yeah. You slept, you fornicated, you had sex with a woman that you decided that you weren't gonna marry. But you know what? That seed is you.
Straight up.
Whether she's a boy or a girl, especially if it's a son.
Straight up.
Oh, that seed is you, boy.
Right.
No matter what, my sons take on like I told my wife, my sons take on my DNA. Now them girls but them boys, and me all day now. Period. It don't even matter. All day. Yeah. And my wife was like, well, me and my wife had a conversation. She was like, well, I think they need to have my mind frame. My mind frame preparing for the real world. Yeah. But there's got to be a balance.
Yeah.
Because, my mind frame might get it might open doors, but it might just be like you got to be able to have your mama and be like, back, bring it on down, bring it on down, you know.
Straight up,
yeah,
straight up, man. That's real, man. So yeah, I think we'll end it there, man. I think we touched on so many different topics, man. The reason why I definitely want to bring your sons on here, man, just so that they could, you know, be able to hear, you know, these conversations and know, you know, what's out there. You know, like sometimes I know, like I said, we ain't got time to just be sitting down all the time because of the way life is structured. But it's like, I think it's good for them to be here and be in the midst of hearing their dad, you know, share his heart about fatherhood, hearing and understanding why you are the way that you are. And I think it's also important to hear what your sons and how your sons feel about you and things that you can work on. And I just think all the way around, you know, I got help, you know, today.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, definitely always trying to learn. You know, that's why I love to sit down with men, and I don't want to hear, you know, I want to be able to learn and be able to, you know, even learn from a young man like him. You know, we all can learn, you know, and I encourage you, Caleb, you know, continue to be a voice, because you might be 14, but you can help somebody like me, 31-year-old grown man with children and a wife and all. You 14-year-old Caleb can help me, you know, and I have to humble myself to be able to learn from someone, you know, in your youth, you know, because one thing I think what happened as I was younger, you know, I gave my life to the Lord 10 years ago. This year is literally 10 years. Next month to be 10 years. I gave my life 2011. And as I've grown in the faith, I think a lot of people have looked at my youth and despised that, literally. You know, I know, man, I'm trying to tell somebody something, and just because I was younger, men ain't one of a lot of times, they're like, man, this man don't know what he's talking about. And at times it did, especially in the beginning, it kind of, it intimidated me. You know, so at times I wouldn't say certain things that I felt like I had to say, you know. So I'm telling you that to say this, man, you know, don't be intimidated. Don't let people intimidate you, you know. But like your pop say, know the time and place, when to say it, because there is a time when you say it, but don't be afraid to. When that time comes, man, speak your mind, bro. Because and a lot of people might not accept it at that moment. They might not accept it at that moment, but it might be a week, a day, a month, years later. They remember what you said. That's right. So continue to speak your mind, man. Continue to be fearless and bold, and continue that communication with your dad, man, because I think that's gonna be this relationship that you have with your dad is gonna be the most important relationship you ever have, you know, as a young man. You know, your dad ain't gonna never stop being your dad, and you ain't gonna never stop needing your dad. I'm 31, bro, and I yearn for the day where I can, like, my dad called me for advice. My dad called me so I can pray with him. My dad called me, you know, because he got things going on, and that joker, man, that joker called me because he ain't know how to pay a bill. I say, Pops, you don't know how to do that? But I understand, you know, he got some issues up, but, you know, but he humbled himself and called me and like, man,
that's what's up, man.
Man, I don't know what's going on. I done got stuff turned off. I said, come on. So, but, you know, I long for the day when I can pick up the phone call. Sometimes I be needing to call my daddy. At 31, bro, I need to call my daddy sometimes. Like, man, Pop, well, I'm going through it, bro. Talk to me. But I know he ain't really in that position. I don't put that type of pressure on him. But
you got anything you need to say to Pops, man? To
take advantage of that.
To the fathers out there, any encouraging words you want to say to them?
just be in your child's life, because I have a lot of friends at school. Well, I switched schools, but when I was going to a school, I saw a lot of like issues in our community that goes on with our brothers and sisters, and sometimes it's like I see why my dad is the way he is on me, and my heart goes out to him, because sometimes they be asking me for what to do, what to say, just different advice and different things. And yeah, just be there.
That's real. That's real, man.
Jay, so you got something to say?
Yes.
What you gonna say?
Be encouraging to your daughters and sons.
All right. No child shall lead them.
Yeah. Yes, so man, hey, I appreciate you, bro.
Man, definitely.
I appreciate
I
you.
was an honor. I count it as a privilege to be among the dads on this podcast, and may the Most High continue to expand your borders, man. I mean, what you get right here is real talk.
Yeah.
You know, this ain't sugar coated. This is real talk, real feelings, real things that we as men, as fathers, go through. But praise Yah for this platform that allows us to communicate it. You know, and I just, you know, may the Most High enlarge your borders. I think I seen where you hitting in some countries that keep it going, keep enlarging.
Yeah.
You know, and bless them. You know, just continue to bless you financially, every aspect of your life, man. You know, that you just bring, that the Most High Yah continue to bring increase. And even though my brothers out there, the men out there, continue to arise, take your position, take your place, fight for your seed, man. You know, I say that to my brothers. We in the Hebrew we say the ox. All right, so I say that to the ox. I say that to my men that are fathers, whatever. Man, take your place. Take your rightful place as true kings, you know, as true men. And regardless if you made mistakes, regardless if you bumped your head, the scripture says, a righteous man falleth down several times, but who will pick him up? The Most High. So yeah, you may have had a bump in the road. You may have had to do time. You may have had to do this and do that. Man, don't stay in that muck. Don't stay in that place of condemnation, man. Just know that the Most High just got more for you, man.
Yeah. Man, hey, y'all take heed, man. Dad, can we talk? We ain't stopping this year, man. We're gonna continue to push. We're gonna continue to change this narrative. This year is changing.
That's right.
You know, and like I said at the end of my last episode, man, y'all be ready, you know, for what's coming. You know, if you as a man are not preparing your family for what's coming,
come on.
Feel sorry for you, man. Prepare your family, prepare your wives, prepare your children, prepare yourself to continue to stand strong.
That's what's up.
Because one thing about it, things might not ever get back how it used to be.
That's right.
Things probably ain't gonna get better according to prophecy. There's a lot coming, man. So y'all continue to keep your eyes open, man. Continue to right now ain't the time to be asleep whatsoever. It's not sleep time. Please don't be asleep, man.
Oh, man.
And for all of y'all that's on the verge of giving up, this ain't the time to give up, man. This is not the time to leave your wife. This is not the time to leave your children.
That's
right now, boy, they need us.
That's right.
Our homes, our families need us in this time, man. So for all the men out there listening, man, y'all continue to stand strong. If you're weak and you ain't got nobody around you, man, get in contact with me, please. Anthony Rashad Ray on Facebook. Find me on Instagram. At A&R Visuals or Dad Can We Talk. Any way you can find me, call my phone 352-672-4685. Get in contact, man. Get get locked in, because there's no reason why any man should be walking alone right now.
That's right.
There's no reason for that, man. So we're here. I might not be able to help you with what you got going on, but I know a lot of different men.
That's right.
So I'm always willing to help in whatever way possible, man. Yeah, man. So y'all find this streaming on all platforms that has podcasts: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, all type of other places. Or you can find it on Anchor, Anchor.fm. Or just go to the website at www.dadcan'twetalk.com, and you can find everything about the podcast on that website, including all of the episodes streaming on that website. So for all my dads up there, man, y'all continue to stay